good, y'all? It's the Breeze, and we back in this Bando Brando.
It's your boy Pat the Designer.
And on this week,
it's over.
Unfortunately, but yes.
That didn't. That
got our hopes up. First two games got our hopes up.
That kind of went as expected. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Not necessarily.
Those last four went pretty much as expected.
Well, yeah, but that was without a key player. So,
if you don't know what we're talking about by now, the Bulls are out of the playoffs. It went down pretty quick.
Yeah. No.
They came out
started
strong.
off so well.
You know
Rondo was such a big player in these playoffs.
You know what?
And the loss of him basically destroyed the team.
That too. But I think it was just that first game. I said it in the Friday Focus. I'll say it again. For that man, Isaiah Thomas, to do what he did and to continue doing what he's doing in the playoffs after the death of his sister is something that I could not deal with. The loss of a sibling, and then to go, I couldn't function. And then to go play a sporting event and be out there for your team and give it your all respect to that man for that. And all respect to his family, prayers up to the family, all of that. I think it just took him a couple games to get in there. I think the death of I think the death of his sister sent waves through the whole team. And it just kind of shook everybody because you're a family. And if one of your teammates is hurting, you all hurting. I think it took a couple of games for them to just get it, hey, yo, we got to get here. We can lose to the 8th seed, and we're not going out that way, something like that. And at the same time, I think you're right. I think the loss of Rondo kind of shook the Bulls' momentum. The Bulls had the momentum coming out of the first two games.
And I'm not even going to say that. What I'm going to say is the Bulls, yeah, they did have that momentum with Rondo, and they won those first two games. They played really well. They were moving the ball. Lopez was dominating mid-range. He was dominating in the basket.
And they went away from him.
They were winning because of rebounds. I mean, Rondo got 9 rebounds in that first game. I mean, that's your point guard.
Yeah.
That's not something,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's something that helps you win games. And, once he was gone, there was no one else stepping up. Jaren Grant is trash.
Yeah, I think it really proves that the Bulls' depth is
not even the Bulls' depth, I would say, is okay, other than the point guard position. Other than the point guard position. Because we have good players coming in. No matter what people say, Felicio is a boost off the bench. He comes in and he helps the team. He comes in and he works well with Dwayne Wade and he works well with those players and he gets you what you need from your bench player, him. Zipser, I think he should be a starter over Miritich trash though. Zipser is really good. He came in and gave what any other role-playing bench player
But this is the thing.
He came in and played starter minutes.
But this is the thing. He gave it in game 2. He played a great game in game 2. He came out and he gave what was needed.
Game 1 and game 2.
But in 3, 4, and 5, these guys were non-existent.
But the thing about that is when Rondo wasn't there, the ball was not moving. You could tell the difference between their offense. Because when Rondo was there, everyone was moving. Everyone was moving. The ball was moving.
But guys still got to score too. Zipser became non-existent.
He wasn't getting the shots that he was getting those first two games.
But even so, he still became non-existent.
A lot of players came non-existent.
All of a sudden, he was,
the point guard runs the game.
He does, but Dwayne Wade.
When Jaren Grant came when Dwayne Wade came in and started playing,
Felicio plays best when Dwayne Wade runs point.
When Dwayne Wade came in and started running that point position, that's when they came back. They were down by 13. All of a sudden, they're down by 4. That's because Dwayne Wade was moving the ball, and Zipser came in and hit
still have those scoring droughts, though. They still have those scoring droughts. That's because Dwayne Wade came out the game. But they still have those droughts where they get nothing. Even when D Wade was in the game, D Wade. Let's be honest. D Wade had a couple of good games. D Wade
played very well.
The last game he played, D Wade did not play well.
Yeah,
the game before, D Wade was non-existent, and D Wade's defense was terrible.
He had 24 points, Patrick.
But the points is different than what you're giving me. That's like the Carlos Boozer effect. Carlos Boozer could come out and get 22 points a night. His guy would get 27.
But Dwayne Wade played great defense. And
no,
the only game he didn't play well was the last game.
No, he had a couple of games in this playoff series where Dwayne Wade did not play defense. He's standing under the rim, and he's waiting for other guys to box out. That was the last game. No, that was the last game and the game before. And what was it, 3 and 4, Dwayne Wade pretty much didn't show up. Both games in Chicago, Dwayne Wade basically wasn't there. When they went to Boston, he had a nice game. But they lost. You know?
Dwayne Wade played very well through like every game except the last one.
No.
Anyways,
you got to look at him, man.
But
on the defensive end,
the ball wasn't moving at all.
The ball wasn't moving
unless the ball was in Dwayne Wade's hand.
But they couldn't stop anybody either. They made no stops. They made no effort on the defensive end. The Bulls got killed on the pick and roll like they do every season.
Yeah.
The Bulls had no chance of even stepping up to Isaiah Thomas. Fred Hoiberg had no idea.
The only time they came in and played well is when Isaiah Cannon came in the game.
And even then.
And he came in and played well. He got him like 12 points a game.
He did in game, what was that, game 3?
But that's what you need. But he was what you needed from your backup point guard.
Yeah, he wasn't what you needed from
He wasn't what a Rondo. He wasn't giving you what Rondo was giving you, and that was the difference.
And
you see what happened
here's the
in game 1 and game 2 when Rondo was there, because Rondo spaces the floor out by himself, and when the players are out there, they're spacing the floor out even more. So Robin Lopez are able to get these rebounds, and Rondo can get down there and get these rebounds.
But here's the difference
Isaiah
to me
Thomas
too.
On them.
One, you're up in game 1 and 2, so you're winning. You can leave Robin Lopez in there because you don't need as much offense. You're not chasing points. Robin Lopez is giving you a boost, but on the defensive end, he's really getting killed. And you don't need the 3-point shooter, so you can leave him in there. He's killing Al Horford. I don't think Al Horford was a good pickup for the Celtics anyway because
he played very well during the series.
Yeah, but he also got killed anytime Robin Lopez was in there. Like, Robin Lopez was killing them. I looked at the game against, who are they playing now? Washington. Gortat's killing them. Like, he's getting killed by anybody that's a little bit bigger than him. Like, he's not a difference maker in my book. He's not a difference maker. But that's a story for another day. But the thing is, the Bulls, on the defensive end, they didn't know what to do. And after game 2, you look at Brad Stevens, he made the adjustment. Okay, they're coming out. They're playing great. They're playing good defense. We got to switch something up. We got to totally change something around. And so he puts in Gerald Green. Gerald Green gives him a pop off the bench. He puts in all these other guys that didn't even play at the end of the season, and they're giving him a pop off the bench. The Bulls didn't know how to play against that. Fred Hoiberg then did not know how to counter against what Brad Stevens was doing. The NBA in the playoffs is not checkers, it's chess. You know, like, it's not this guy versus this guy. He's going up against them, and Brad Stevens made the adjustment. Brad Stevens lost the first 2, and he makes the adjustment. Fred Hoiberg can't make it back. The series is lost. Fred Hoiberg had nothing to do. Now, granted, he had no players.
He had players except for Rondo.
This is the thing. The Bulls bench, you can say what they want. You can put on your C-Ray glasses all you want. It's not good. It is not good. Paul Zipser, you running Paul Zipser out there every night, you go ahead. I don't want Paul Zipser on my team.
Why not? He's playing very well.
If he's an okay.
He played once Paul
Zipser is an okay role player.
Once he started getting minutes, he was getting 20 points a game towards the end of the season.
I'll give you Paul Zipser, and you can have Paul Zipser. I'll take Gerald Green. You know, like, you can have your Paul Zipser. You can have your Cristiano Felicio. I like Felicio. I think Felicio is very good at pick and roll because he's got good feet. Felicio sets the pick and he moves out of that. He moves down to the roll. He gets a lot of easy dunks. But at the end of the day, we're playing Cristiano Felicio 20, 25 minutes a game. He's not that guy. He's just not. Cristiano Felicio averaged 3.3 points in the playoffs. That doesn't do nothing for me. You know, like, that means he did have that one game where he popped with D-Wade. He had like 12 or 14 points in there. The pick and roll was nasty. They were running it through him. And then, like, the rest of the series, he was blah. You know,
you gotta understand, when Rondo wasn't there, literally they came up court and Jaren Grant Jaren Grant stood at the top of the key for 20 seconds out of the 24 and then pass it to Jimmy Butler or pass it to Mirotic to shoot the ball and hope they bailed him out.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. The depth is not good.
And then Michael Carter-Williams came in, and they got a little ball movement just because he's able to attack the basket. But it still wasn't what the Bulls needed. Now Isaiah Cannon came in, and they actually started getting the ball moving and everything, but it still wasn't a Rondo. He still wasn't able to compete with what Isaiah Thomas was giving his team in order to set them up.
The thing is, your superstars got to be superstars. Dwayne Wade played not good defense at all in this playoff series. He was just he was looking for other guys to be there that weren't.
Dwayne Wade played very good.
And Jimmy Butler is overwhelmed. Jimmy Butler's doing too much. I understand he's the star. He's got to give you 30. He's got to play on the defensive end. I get that. He can't give you 50 a game. He just can't. You know, like he is a star. I think he's a star in my book. I think he's a top 10 player in the league, possibly top 15. Let's say 15. But he just can't do it all.
Right.
You know, and he's not going to come out there and be able to be the point guard and the shooting guard and the small forward. You got to get something around him. And they don't have anything around him. And Fred Hoiberg has no idea. This is the one thing. I think it was time for Thibodeau to move on. But at the same time, Tom Thibodeau got what he needed to get out of those guys on the bench. No matter if you gave him a John Lucas III, if you gave him an old Nate Robinson, if you gave him a C.J. Watson, guys that were out of the league, guys that didn't play, like they got no minutes, he could make them play. And that's what Fred Hoiberg doesn't have. Fred Hoiberg doesn't have that thing that makes players better. The only player I could possibly say that developed under Fred, because I think Jimmy did it by himself. Jimmy went to L.A. It wasn't Fred developing Jimmy. The only player that possibly developed under Fred Hoiberg was Etuan Moore, because he got a little pop out of him a couple years ago. But then he went to New Orleans. You didn't want to re-sign him. You wanted the Michael Carter-Williams. Well, this is what you got. You get in the first round of the playoffs. You aren't going to get a good draft pick because you made the playoffs. You go out in the first round of the playoffs, and there's your team. That's the Bulls. And that's what the Bulls have been for the last couple of years, you know.
I actually believe that the Bulls had a good team this year. They had the players they needed. They just didn't have very good coaching in order to get them what they needed. I'm not. You can't blame it all on the coaching, but
no, you can't.
The coaching was the biggest part of why I believe the Bulls lost. The Bulls had what they needed to win. They had an amazing passer. They had people who can score. They had people who can spread the floor. They had rebounders. They have what they need. They just have to learn how to work together and get it together. And at the end of the day, that comes down to coaching, setting up how everything's gonna run. And I don't think Fred Hoiberg did what he needed to do in order to get that. But at the same time, in the playoffs, when Rondo was in there, we could see how fluently the Bulls were moving and how well the game was going for the Bulls. Everything just seemed smooth. Everything seemed intact. Everything was just working well. Once Rondo left, it really seemed like he didn't know what to do. He was just kind of guessing, going with Jaren Grant, who was a bad decision. And then he relied on him for 2 games that they lost. And then they finally just went ahead and moved Isaiah Cannon, who came in and was a big spark for the Bulls.
Well, that's the thing, too. That's why I say it's both, because you can't blame Fred. Look, if you give Fred Steph Curry, the playoffs might look a little bit different. Fred Hoiberg is that chasing space kind of guy. Like, he's a space it out. He wants to shoot threes. He wants to keep the flow moving. He doesn't have that team. He's got old D. Wade. He's got Jimmy Butler, who's an attack-the-basket kind of player. And he's got... well, that's really it. He's got Robin. I like Robin Lopez. He's got Robin Lopez down low. But Robin Lopez can't really move. He's not fast. So if you give Fred the players, maybe he's a good coach. But with this team right here, he's not. And even with that, I don't think, even if you give him Golden State, I don't think he has the NBA knowledge which is weird because he played in the NBA, to play that chess game. Because we saw this year with Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens made an adjustment, and Fred Hoiberg had nothing to adjust back with. He had nothing. And that's kind of what it comes down to. They don't have the players. They don't have the coach, you know?
Yep. Well, that's our opinion on it. Let us know what y'all think. Let us know. Give our opinions. Let us know down in the comments. Please let us know down in the comments. We're gonna feed off what you tell us and everything. Like, subscribe. Also, if y'all can find us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and everything else. And you can also talk to us on there. Let us know what y'all think. And yeah, that's it. Subscribe.
Make sure y'all subscribe. Shouts out to flyersvids.com. Is that what I said it was?
Yeah.
For sharing our video. We got over almost 800 views on there. So shouts out to y'all. We'll leave a link in the description too, so y'all can check out some of their videos.
And
Appreciate it.
The breeze.
Woo!